Hello, everyone. This is your favorite reality TV recap after show podcast hosted by a married couple based in London. There's other qualifiers there, but we don't bother with those. Why? Because we are a broad church. We are all inclusive.
Also, this is just a Patreonies podcast, except it isn't.
Nope, we're giving the first half hour away for free because we want to entice you to come along.
Yeah, come join the Patreon. You can hear the rest of this and all the other episodes we will be doing of, drumroll, the Fundibus, which is our, it's so stupid, our Christian fundamentalist relationship recap omnibus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's stupid about that?
It's just weird.
You're only saying that because it wasn't your idea.
We are combining our coverage of Welcome to Plathville and Sister Wives. We loved doing Sister Wives last season. We're doubling down on the fundies. We've got the funding to do the fundies, and we're doing it on the Fundibus.
We are, and later on this month, we will be covering the upcoming seasons of Love is Blind. Love is Blind US and Love is Blind UK.
I don't think we're going to be doing Married at First Sight UK this year. That's about to start.
Probably won't.
We'll watch it. We may have some thoughts, but yeah.
It's a big time commitment. We always do Married at First Sight Australia, whether people want us to or not. We love that show.
Let's see. We got loads in the loads coming down the pipe and the pike. As you know, we do another omnibus, which is Before and Toe from the 90-day universe. We're doing 90-day UK. So many things. Some of them right where you are now on this feed. Some of them on the Patreon. Patreon.com/BlightyDay, BLIGHTYDAY.
Thank you, Robin. I'm sorry about that. I might be a little more interrupty than usual because I'm actually sat outside in our garden because it is too hot to sit in the cabin. So we're not doing video this time around, I'm afraid. We are going to try to incorporate a video element for you all. But I don't think you need to see two white people melting today. We're going to spare you that.
Yeah.
It's kind of gross.
I'm actually still in the cabin because I got to do all the tech stuff. Michelle's got a very long cable and has made it outside into nature. You may hear the sounds of birds a little louder than usual. Stephanie, our friendly fox, may come along and make loud sex noises at any point during the podcast. She likes to do that when the sun goes down. Anything could happen.
Anything could happen except me going back into that cauldron. And if you think I'm being precious, I have low blood pressure. It's dangerous for me to be in elevated temperatures. Okay?
I'm just pretending I'm in a sauna.
All right.
Good. Let us kick off proceedings. Let's go far away, back in time, into the land of Europe. Do you remember Europe?
I remember when we were in it.
We are still technically in it, but we won't get into the whole continental landmass thing.
Can I say something to you directly?
Oh, yes.
Don't pause, because I want our listeners to hear this too. And this will be a special Easter egg for later. No. I think you have the same or similar understanding of atlases to one Cody Brown.
I want to Photoshop a picture where it's the Cody Atlas and it's just his face instead of land masses. I may do it. I may make a t-shirt of it. That could happen. We'll get on to Cody carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders a little later. We are in Europe with two Plaths. Which Plaths are we with?
We're with Ethan and Olivia. They spent a month in Paris. I'm unclear about all the toings and froings. We saw some beautiful photos. If you're not following Olivia on Instagram, you should. She's a very talented photographer, in my humble opinion. I'm not one for posed photographs. I prefer sort of a what do you call it? Not documentary style, reportage style. That's what it's called. But she takes some really lovely.
Do you think those were her pictures? Do you think she set up her camera on a timer then?
I think she probably did.
Ah, okay.
Seeing as how that's her bread and butter, or it was before this show started. Anyway,
so they're bimbling around. They're at Sacré-Cœur. Sacré-Cœur. Not Sacré-Bleu.
I love, love, love that place.
Yeah.
Do you remember the last time we went to Paris? We were celebrating our engagement, and it was
Well, I remember the only thing we actually did together was go to Sacré-Cœur. The rest of the time, you were the first person in Europe to have COVID.
Not the whole rest of the time. We had those gluten-free waffles. We did some shopping in the world.
We did get out a tiny bit, but you were very unwell.
I still have happy memories. I could still see the Eiffel Tower from our hotel room, and you picked a gorgeous neighborhood and place to stay.
Yeah, it was lovely.
I really enjoyed it.
We were actually there escaping it's currently Mercury retrograde. We were experiencing Rat-tageddon, weren't we? That's why one of the main reasons we went is because our house became a flop house for rats.
Yep.
Yeah. Someone was building a Peloton palace in his back garden. Genuinely is, so that's what he was doing. And drilled down, breached the Victorian sewage network of old London town, and freed 1 million rats who chewed through the walls of our apartment to move in.
This is all documented. If you think we're making this up, I actually filed an environmental health complaint because we had to get out of that house.
Yeah, there was no. I mean, it's not just that we were like, oh, there's a rat. There was no room.
Oh God!
It was a scene out of Indiana Jones. There was just a lot of rats.
Yeah, no one's allowed to call me a princess ever again,
right.
Or say that I don't know what it's like living with rats.
That apartment flat was quite interesting for its nature. There was Rat-ageddon, and then were you there when the chimney thing happened with the Boyds?
No, but maybe we should save some of that stuff because I imagine it's this first half hour that's going to get posted. And so maybe we should talk about the shows that we're covering.
God, that's a really good point. Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine. So they had a nice holiday. That was very good. They were worried about going back. They should be worried about going back.
Because a bombshell dropped, y'all. They're pretending that they're not on TV and that Olivia, roller skated to the local paper. Whatever the newspaper of record is in Cairo, Georgia, went up to one of the reporters there who presumably...
I have a hot lead for you.
Yeah, exactly. Who presumably used his typewriter. Yeah. And I do mean he because there were no female staff.
No. Did he have one of those like trilbies with a little bit of paper with the word reporter sticking out of the ribbon?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Except it didn't say reporter, it said press.
Right.
So he's there, all sort of Perry Mason-like. Perry Mason was a lawyer, not a reporter, but I'm just sorry. I think about Matthew Reese and I go to a place. Anyway, he's sitting there, clickety-clack, tapping on his typewriter, and the big news is that
I got a scoop.
He's got a scoop. Ethan was involved in an MLM of some description. We don't know. We don't care.
But was that on the show then? Because you're saying this mystery allegation in the press that was actually on the show. Now I am new to Plathville, so
no, it wasn't on the show. It was mentioned or alluded to, I believe, before the last season. But if I'm wrong about that, people will correct me. Listeners will correct me.
Right.
Anyway.
But Olivia's been running her mouth about Kim spending Ethan's money.
Yeah, she's been telling everybody. She's tipped off every newsie going in Cairo, Georgia, to carry the front page item that says Kim
Woman
Plath,
spends money.
Yeah, steals from her son, from her 20-year-old married son. Yeah. We cut to Los Angeles. They do a beautiful transition on this where they do a really fun color swipe.
Yeah. They do it throughout. They overdo it, to be honest.
You'll have to forgive me. We've got a plane going overhead, so I can't hear what you're saying. I'll let you know when he's gone.
Yeah, they do the little color grading fade, don't they? It's very nice. Very nicely shot show. So we cut to Micah, who's doing his Tom Cruise risky business routine, slipping and a sliding, rocking and a rolling.
What they didn't show is the 60-year-old man who is paying for that apartment.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. Where in Los Angeles is he?
I'm assuming West Hollywood.
That place must cost a bomb. That was a big-ass apartment, right? The Plaths have all got money suddenly, right? You got Ethan and Olivia, who can somehow afford to sort of trick-trot around Europe for, like, months, which, look, there are ways of doing it cheaply, but... You got him living there. You got Mariah, who's moved into, like, Elton John's residence, by the looks of it. Yeah, all of a sudden they're all spending money. Now, it did make me wonder where the money's coming from. Either the residuals have finally come through on previous seasons of the show, right? Because they get paid, right? Or, and this is my conspiracy theory, Barry's paying them off. Barry or Kim are like, come back into the fold and we'll give you a stipend.
I think for legal reasons, we should make it abundantly clear we have no idea.
No idea. It's
what
just,
the nature of their contracts are.
I just remember
with Discovery, and that
these,
everything we say is alleged.
Oh God, yeah. Well, I mean, it's not even alleged. It's just, these are hypotheses. But like, I remember these kids were like, they left, right? That was a big deal, and all of a sudden they got to make it on their own. They were quite poor, right? And they're not poor anymore.
I don't think they were ever poor. I just think when you have 10 children,
well,
$100,000 a year doesn't go that far, or whatever he makes.
No, but when they were living independently, because they left home, they were starting like a rock bottom, like most people do when you leave home, right?
Oh my God.
Is it Stephanie the Fox? What?
Something just chittered and like scurried off to the bush, and it scared me.
Well, you've chosen to do the pod out in nature.
It's too hot in there. All right. Let me interrupt you for a second so that we can tack on, just so that we can check in with everybody here. Yeah?
Yeah.
Before we get too far ahead of ourselves. So Mariah has a brutal dye job.
Yeah. The crimping is worse than the dye, though, right?
She looks like... This is terrible. Who was Sid Vicious's wife?
Nancy Spungen.
Yeah, no. That one.
No. When she's wearing like the bandage outfit later, abs out, that is a weird ass costume to go with that hair. Everything is wrong. She's so close to getting things right, isn't she? And yet everything's shifted over a few degrees where it's all so wrong.
Yeah.
She makes me uncomfortable, and I don't quite know why.
I think it's because she looks a lot younger than she is one part of it.
Yeah.
And she very conspicuously, she dresses very conspicuously. And there's a clear attempt to draw attention to herself.
Which is fine.
And that's not a judgment. That's just a statement of fact.
Yeah, the way she does it. It always sets me on edge. I can't, yeah.
No, I agree. And it doesn't feel... I think I would feel better about it if it felt true to who she actually is. Like, I supported all the leopard print and the black and the scrunchies and those things from previous seasons.
Well, yeah, she's gone from being, like, emo to... I don't know what she is
Yeah,
now.
I don't know what this is.
Sort of like proto-Gwen Stefani kind of thing, maybe?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? I don't like it. That's all I'm saying. I don't like it.
Dye job is so brutal, and her lip liner is just... I'm not going to go too deep into it, but these are choices, okay? These are some of the... I would put most of this cast in the top 1% of attractive people in the world, okay?
Okay.
I'm not shaming or hating on
No, we're not clowning
anyone,
on them. It's
okay?
just like, are they really working with what the good Lord gave them? Or
I don't think so.
No.
I think they're working against it.
I think so.
So, look, we'll come back to her in a minute. Right. I like her dog. I like Blackjack.
Big guy.
He seems like a good guy.
He's
good
a good
boy.
Guy. People watching in the world.
Then we come to Kim back in Cairo in her bachelorette pad.
Above the dance studio.
Looks way nicer than it did. I don't know if we saw the full kitchen and how big that loft actually is.
Yeah.
I thought it was a studio.
It's above the dance studio, I believe. I think she said, right? I've never seen like a live-in space above a shop space, essentially, which looks like that.
Yeah, look.
That place is weird. The weirdest thing of all, though, was that kitchen island being set at a jaunty 35-degree angle. Couldn't handle that.
I think that's a pretty common thing in America. It's not a choice I would be happy with either, but
really
to each their own. And finally we go to Casa del Plath. Barry's single, passing out kombuchas. I think some of these kids are too young for kombucha.
Are you too young? I mean, it's...
What do you all think about... I don't know. I think because caffeine makes me really jittery and impacts me negatively, and even though I miss it terribly, I had to stop ingesting it years ago. I don't want Alfie to have any of it. I don't want him to, certainly not in large quantities.
Sure. But kombucha?
Kombucha
has
got
lots caffeine?
It's fermented tea.
Oh.
It's got loads of caffeine.
Oh, all right.
So I guess he's relaxed the no sugar policy.
He can hold those kids back. If they go full crazed, now that he's, beefy Barry, he's got the strength to hold an army back, right? But while he does it, his eyes will bug out, making him look like Skeletor.
Oh, I can't.
Before he became a skeleton.
No, don't come. I love Skeletor. If Skeletor isn't a queer icon for you, he should be.
Oh, he should be. There is a point, isn't there, where like some people shouldn't work out. Like no matter how much Barry works out, he's still going to look like the tax accountant who started working out, and it's inappropriate for him to do so, right? Like he comes into the office looking that, and suddenly all the women in the typing pool who've been like sexually harassed for years, all of a sudden they're like, now we need to actually be afraid. He's got that look.
Did you watch Orphan Black?
I watched the first couple of episodes. I just didn't have the time. I'm sure it's very good.
It's very, very good. For those of you who did watch it, and no, I didn't finish the series because I have issues with commitment, but Barry looks like Dr. Leakey.
Okay.
And I can't unsee it, and I don't think you'll be able to unsee it either once you compare them.
Did you have that thing in the States? Was there anyone in the States, like Adam Buxton and people over here did it, where you would like turn your head around and film yourself upside down and draw like eyes on your chin? And I think
I'm pretty sure that's universal.
Yeah, I think Takeover TV had someone doing it, which was an American show, right? A World of Wonder American show. Laurie Pike, do you remember any of this? When you were really
the early
young.
70s, when my parents hadn't even met.
Sure, but no, not 90s. Barry looks like he's one of those people whose head is the wrong way round and someone's drawn eyes on the chin.
I could see that.
He's or a thumb person. You know when people like put clothes around a thumb?
No, I don't think he's a thumb at all. If anything, he's the opposite of that. Like he's got, but fair enough. I'm not going to tell you what you see. So the crux of the drama here is that Olivia went to the Cairo Times or whatever, ran her mouth about it, and Micah and Moriah and I guess some of the other siblings potentially even, all of their own accord.
Oh, yeah.
And definitely without prompting, decided...
Surprised Kim with a beautiful gesture of a joint statement, which he knew nothing about at all.
No. And the fact that neither Micah nor Moriah have ever used this distinct collection of words to describe their situation before this all happened. Again, all alleged.
So what it all boils down to, and this is the whole meat of this episode, right? The whole, is it true? Is it not true? This is kind of what it boils down to. Like, if it is categorically not true, and Kim was able to present her kids with evidence to show that Olivia had been talking complete shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Mariah says earlier on in the episode, you know, only some of the story was told, and, you know, the full facts bear that it is not truthful, right? But at no point, I kept giving her a chance. I was like, this will be the scene where she gives us the other side. This will be the scene. And then you get a brilliant scene later, which is, I'm not going to, I think it's Kim who says it, is it? It might have been Mariah, actually. Well, I'm not going to dignify this with a response. Like, I'm not going to provide the evidence to the contrary viewers. You just have to take it from us. It's not true. It's shocking.
There were 3 people involved in this, right? Ethan, Olivia, and Kim. 2 out of those 3 people said it happened.
Yeah. And the one person who is accused of something, who would always say it didn't, says it didn't. But what evidence has Mariah seen? What evidence has Micah seen? What evidence have any of them seen that this is not true in any way? And what I thought was really funny is, I'm not going to dignify it with a response after putting out a response.
It's just, look.
Show me the evidence. Show me the evidence that it's not true, and then there's a story. Otherwise, nah. There's something else going on. There's some reason why they've turned back to the dark side, and I do not know what it is.
It makes it a lot less fun to watch because I'm really sick of them, again, parroting her. And Micah has changed. I'm not attracted to him anymore. No. You know, I'm not into blondes to begin with. Sorry, blondes, you don't do it for me. But one could say, again, objectively, most of this family is in the 1% of attractive people, Olivia included.
Micah is like twink dream par excellence, right? He is gorgeous for that look, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
But there's something a little bit smelly about it suddenly. Like, what was this gorgeous, fresh-faced farm boy kind of thing, right? Like, hot as fuck, but didn't know it.
You know what?
Is it just that he's been modelling and now everyone's told him and he started to have a lot of sex?
No.
Okay.
First of all, I don't think he's having as much sex as he claims to be having. And secondly, I thought it might have been acting lessons or something like that, because he's lost his accent, right? He's lost the Georgia drawl, right, which neither Kim nor Barry have either, but he certainly did.
Right.
I don't know where that came from. It was sort of like, but that happens sometimes. Like, I grew up knowing twins who had their own accent that was totally like distinct parents, from the other girls in their family. Yeah. So interesting. Anyway.
He has all of the charm and innocence and...
No, it's all gone because he talks like this.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
Bratty and... Like I say, there's a smelly look to him now.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah. Where he's in the mirror, sort of patting his abs. I don't know if that was supposed to be sexy.
I'm not interested. I'm not interested in it anymore.
No. In fact, there's something as sexless about him as, you know, Anthony from Red Hot Chili Peppers?
I guess. Anthony. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I can never say his surname, so I didn't. How do you say his surname? Kiedis? You know, he's always topless, isn't he? You know, and he always pats his tummy.
Iggy Pop?
Iggy Pop always pats his tummy, but Iggy Pop is kind of sexy.
Yeah.
Because it's raw power, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Whereas Anthony Kiedis, like, there was always something very unsexy about the way he was sort of muscly, but not at all sexy for it. Just sort of goofy, right? And I think that's where Micah falls. I think what he thinks is super, super stunning. Look at the, the lines on my body are just goofy.
I think what's happened here is I think Mariah and Micah kind of have a twin-like relationship.
Sure.
They're very symbiotic, those two.
Yeah.
And they may not have shared the womb at the same time. They may not have been womb mates, as it were, but they come from the same place, right? Mm. And they kind of left together and all of that.
So when you say they come from the same place and left together, you're not talking about Kim's vagina.
I am.
Ah.
Yeah.
Kim's convenience, as I like to call it.
Oh, God. So, yeah, Micah and Mariah are very close. And I don't think, even though they're not always in the same place at the same time, I think they have a sort of...
shining.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I would take that as far... I think they can astral project and switch bodies.
Nice.
I think it's like that film that I won't say the name of because it'll give it away.
Do you think
Don't do it.
I'm not. Do you think they meet up in their dreams?
All the time.
I used to do that with my mate, Ollie, when I was a kid.
He's really hot. Can you switch bodies with him?
Oh, my God.
Sorry. I forgot you can't tell those jokes with straight men. It doesn't work. Yeah, so they always have to be in line, and it's exhausting listening to them parroting these talking points that are clearly not born of their brains. So they meet with I'm going to go slightly out of sequence here. When they meet with Barry and Kim, they have a little gathering, as Barry would say, and Barry brings up that it's really relationally destructive.
Yeah, it's relationally
destructive.
Yeah, the theory of relationality. It's not a word.
And Barry knows a thing or two about relational destruction because his marriage is in the toilet.
Yeah. What else do you think is in Barry's toilet?
A lot of protein.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of whey. Right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
And because he's not of my generation or yours, he can digest dairy beautifully.
Can he, though? Can he?
I don't know. I wouldn't want to be Lydia.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying. Lydia probably has to clean that toilet out 7 times a day, right?
You guys, Lydia
But she does it with a rictus grin on her face, like, I am so happy to be my dad's new bride, cleaning out his shit from the toilet.
Lydia spends all of her time... I know you're never on the internet, and I haven't looked at this, but I'm aware that it exists. There's a TikTok subreddit. Whatever.
I love you so much.
Whatever they're called on TikTok. There's like a TikTok community of traditional marriage and traditional wives.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's Lydia's happy place. I think she's moved on from the prayer closet and she just goes on TikTok and flicks her bean to all these traditional wives in their traditional marriages.
Yeah, doing like embroidery and...
No, just cleaning and cooking and
polishing
ironing.
their husband's shoes.
Yeah.
That's a classic, isn't it? The shoe polish.
Yeah. With their tongues. So they get it right. Lydia has taken her rightful seat at the head of... I mean, come on. If these were Targaryens...
Oh, yeah.
Which there's no suggestion that they aren't, right?
No.
They've got the blonde hair.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think that what we know of the Targaryens is set like a few thousand years ago, right?
Sure.
But the story presumably goes like, so, you know, after Daenerys. Well, no, I can't do any spoilers there, can I?
No, but suffice it to say,
somehow the line continues.
Yeah.
Through to the Plaths.
Yeah.
Right.
They might.
Does that mean that Ethan's motorbike, no, his cars are actually dragons?
No, I've just said, you know, they need to. They've kept some of the traditions. One of which is that
you sleep with your family.
If your dad is the king, you're next in line for the throne.
Right.
Okay? So Lydia is the neck that turns the head of the household, and I dissociated when she went through all of this, but you know, snaps for her because she looks fantastic. She's clearly in her element. She's dispensed with that patchy foundation that she was wearing before.
Who, Lydia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suspect she's doing, you know, some other kind of Christian meets where she gets to bond with all the other daughter wives.
She's not that straight and traditional, you know. She's got a little jaunt in it. I think that was the trail for the next episode. I'm like, no, you don't. You have none of that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like, I do Irish step dancing. That's always their weird secret thing that they think is
jaunty.
Yeah, Lydia, you're a real edgelord over there. I was also struck that Barry said, there have been times when I've seen that depression is ahead if I go there.
Yeah, because that's how depression works. It's very much a choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very much a choice.
As many of our listeners know, depression is something that you can pick up at the supermarket.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Or, you know, you opt in or out as
but you can return it to the supermarket anytime you choose.
Yeah. It's available seasonally as well.
You know what? We've just about hit that half-hour mark. I was about to make a Cody Brown reference because he says something very much the same. If you would like to know what Cody and Barry have got in common this week regarding their attitudes to depression, come on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/blightyday. We will leave all you people who aren't on the Patreon. We will see you soon.